Chapter 4, Section 1, objective is to solve problems involving percents. A percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. So some examples of percents are 32%. We might have 0.08%, or we might have something like 505%. The first thing you will be asked to do is change from fractions to decimals to percents. So changing this percent into a decimal, you will just move your decimal point 2 places to the left, and the decimal will be 0.25. Changing that into a fraction, you do 25 over 100, and then you always need to reduce your fractions. 25 over 100, those can both be divided by 25, and that will reduce to 1/4. Number 2, writing 0.48 as a percent, you're going to move your decimal 2 spaces to the right, and that will be 48%. Writing that as a fraction, that becomes 48 over 100, and those can both be divided by 4, so that becomes 12 over 25. Number 3, 38% as a decimal, you're going to move your decimal point 2 places to the left, and that becomes 0.38. Writing that as a fraction, that would be 38 over 100. Those can both be divided by 2, so that would be 19 over 50. Number 4, 0.22 as a percent, you would move your decimal point 2 places to the right, and that would be 22%. Writing that as a fraction, that's 22 over 100. Those two things can both be divided by 2, and so your final answer is 11 over 50. I'm just going to show you one method here for finding the part, the percent, or the whole. And what you do is you translate, or you change from English. So change from that English sentence right there to math. And the two key words here, of becomes multiply, and is becomes equal. Of becomes multiply, and is becomes equal. So find 20% of 60. We're going to change this to a decimal. That will be 0.2. The of becomes a multiply, and 60. 0.2 times 60 is 12. And that's your answer. Number 6 starts out what percent. So we have an unknown. I'm going to use X. Of means multiply. 35. The is becomes equal, and then 7. So what percent of is times 35 is 7. From there, you divide both sides by 35. 7 divided by 35 is 0.2, so that would be 20%. Hope you can see that. Number 7, 120%. We're going to change that to a decimal, 1.2. Of is a multiply. what number becomes n is 90. And then we're going to divide both sides by 1.2. $90 divided by 1.2 is 75. Number 6, we were asked to find a percent, so we had to change it at the end. Number 7, you were just asked to find a number. Number 8, find 42%. So we're going to change that to a decimal, 0.42. Of means multiply, and then 82. .42 times 0.82 is 34.44. We have a couple more questions just like that at the top of the next page. What percent of, so that's an unknown, an x, of 138 becomes times 138 is 63.48. The is becomes equal. So we have 63.48 divided by 138, and x becomes 0.46. And since you were asked to find a percent, we need to change that to a decimal, and that will be 46%. Number 10, 89% becomes 0.89. Of what number becomes times n, is becomes equal 580.28. And when you divide that, you get n equals 652. Number 11, Jerry, an electrician, worked 7 months out of the year. What percent of the year did he work? Well, he worked 7 months. There are 12 months altogether. Grab your calculators. 7 divided by 12 is 0.583 repeating. We have to change that to a decimal. So I'm going to just say about 58% of the year. Jerry worked 58% of the year. Number 12, jewelers use the carat system to determine the amount of pure gold in jewelry. Pure gold is 24 carats, meaning that 100% of the item is gold. 14 carat ring contains 14 parts gold and 10 parts other metal. What percent of the ring is gold? Well, there are 14 gold parts out of 24 parts altogether. And if you grab your calculators, 14 divided by 24, you get the same thing, 0.58, 3 repeating. So approximately 58% of the ring is gold. %58 of the ring is gold. There are 28 students in a class. 16 of those students are boys. What percent of the class are girls? Well, if there are 16 boys, 28 in the class, 28 minus 16 is 12. So there are 12 girls out of 28 total students. And if you do 12 divided by 28, I got 0.4285. So I am going to say about 43%. Number 14, serving size of a popular orange drink is 12 ounces. The drink is advertised as containing 5% juice. 5% is written 0.05. So 5% of the 12 ounces, 0.05 times 12 is what we're going to do here. And that will be 0.6 ounces are actually juice. Number 15, survey at a local school showed 38% of the students chose chocolate ice cream as their favorite. So 38% becomes 0.38. 800 students took the survey. So we will do 0.38 times 800, and that becomes 304 students who had chocolate ice cream as their favorite. Number 16, Mrs. Twig had 31 students and 19 did their math homework. Mrs. TenBrock had 29 students and 22 did their homework. What percentage of students did their homework? So all together, 19 plus 22 is 41 students altogether who did their homework. 31 plus 29 is 60. And if you do 41 divided by 60, you end up with right about 68% of the students who did their homework. Number 17, there were 8,000 people who went to the Hudsonville versus Rockford football game. 65% were from Hudsonville. How many Rockford fans were there? Well, I'm going to do 0.65 times 8,000. And that is 5,200. 5,200 are the Hudsonville fans. Our question was how many Rockford fans were there. So I'm going to take the 8,000 total, subtract the 5,200 Hudsonville people. 8,000 minus 5,200 is 2,800 people who are from Rockford. And that's it for your notes for today. Thanks.